I'm John Sicotte, executive editor of Brewer Magazine, and we are here on the Brewer Magazine podcast, joined by Scot Yarnell, one of the founders of Earnest Brew Works in Toledo, Ohio. Scott, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, John. Thanks for asking me to be on the podcast.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your history. I think you guys, going on, you just had your 7th anniversary.
Yes.
So how are things going in Toledo? And, why did you guys even start a brewery in Toledo?
Oh, the lovely city of Toledo. We started in Toledo because I met my business partner, and I met you, John, through homebrewing years before Earnest opened. And I was like a lot of home brewers. I thought, hey, I'd like to visit breweries. I would like to open a brewery someday. And Toledo really did not have a brewer-owned brewery. I know there might be some people jumping on me about what about this or what about that. But I mean like a brewer-owned, where the actual owners in there creating recipes, getting things going, also overseeing all the operations. It's not a side hustle. So I created Earnest Brew Works with Keith Snyder back in 2016.
And it's been interesting. And obviously, like you said, we've known each other for years. I mean, we met at the Homebrew Club, the Glass City Mashers. Before I was doing this, I was a sports writer. You were working in the medical field, and we both had a passion for homebrewing. I still remember the first time you invited me to a University of Toledo football game, and you had homebrew on tap at the back of your truck. So it was cool. And to get to see how we've grown, and me going into this industry this way, and then you and Keith going in this way, and it's been neat to see. And it's been great. Like, we bounce ideas off of each other all the time. We run a beer festival together. So we talk a lot of business. So the fact that a camera's on and recording it, this is pretty much the conversations we have anyway. And that's why I wanted to get you on, because we just had the Ohio Craft Brewers Conference in Toledo. You got to sit in on a panel talking about tap rooms and how tap rooms have become such a vital part of a craft beer to succeed. I think probably even when Earnest started, you probably thought, well, we're going to, build up a little bit, get packages, send them all over the state of Ohio and work that. But you guys have changed that model. I mean, what was that emphasis that really got you to think, these taproom models is better? I mean, you guys started with a small tap room. You now have 3 in an 18-mile square vicinity to be able to serve parts. I mean, why was the taproom model become such an important part of what Earnest does now?
Well, Earnest Brew Works, we have our mission statement is we choose to brew great beer for our community's enjoyment. So we're here to serve our community. And one way we serve our community is with our tap rooms. There's a lot of customers I know very well. The tap room I'm sitting in right now is the main tap room. It's only like 2 miles from my house. Actually, my business partner Keith lives closer. I think it's like 1.8 miles at his house. So this is our neighborhood. And we know the people that come here, and then we got to know some of the customers that come here. And like I said, when we started in Toledo, there were not many breweries at all. So we were drawing people in from Monclova Township, which is out the suburbs and around. But now, so other taps and our customers, they were complaining about driving here. More or less, they said it in a nice way. They said, we'd like to come to Earnest more. So we thought, well, if people really want to drink our beer, we need more tap rooms. And what's stopping them from coming here is geographic region. We'll just open up more tap rooms. So the way we're in Toledo is we're at one point, and we have one downtown, and we got another one here. So it's like a triangle. So they're about 6 miles apart, these tap rooms, and they serve totally different communities. There's not much cannibalism, meaning that, like at Westgate, which is 6 miles from here in West Toledo, we're in South Toledo, did not pick up many regular customers from here. In fact, I still talk to customers that haven't even been to downtown, and that's coming up on 3 years old. Wow. And it's like, it's a metro area downtown. You figure anybody that lives in suburbs goes into downtown, wherever they're at, once or twice a year. But I know some people just don't go at all. So they've never been there. It's very neighborhood centric. I'm starting to develop this idea that I wanted to open up a brewery. What I ended up with is 3 dive tap rooms, where it's just drawn local. A dive bar just draws like locals. No one's driving across town to go to a dive bar. That's your local haunt. And we do. We get a lot of people that go out to eat and they're not ready to go home yet. And they'll just come here and stop in one of the tap rooms, have a beer before they go home is a common thing.
Yeah. And that changed for you, because I think at one point you guys weren't going to do that. You were looking at more of a distribution model with a central tap room, because like you said, that's what you kind of grew up in your industry with, and it's changed drastically.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I benchmark my stuff, or I'm not really say seriously benchmark. I never thought I was going to get as big as Bell's or Founders or some of the great breweries in Michigan, but Rheingeist here in Ohio. Rheingeist is huge. Rheingeist is in multiple states. They pretty much opened up with the state of Ohio. They opened up only like 3 years before me. And I think Rheingeist and Great Lakes. Between two of them, they do probably 250,000 barrels a year. I have more tap rooms than those two put together. How about that?
Right.
Great Lakes has one tap room. Rheingeist has one tap room. I got three. So how about that, Great Lakes? Challenge is on. But I mean, no, but they do all their southern beer and distro. So Keith and I, when we started this, we thought, well, hey, we're just going to open up Earnest. We're going to learn a little bit. We're going to figure out what we're doing. And then we're going to just start signing with a distro and just keep growing as we need to. And we did grow to a certain amount. And then that's about it. I guess you could say it's on us. I mean, we did not put a financial plan together like Rheingeist has, where we're going to start out with millions of dollars and all this stuff. You know, we're pretty small town guys, just financing this ourselves. When we look at the bigger plans of what it takes to grow, what was it? A friend of mine was just at Jackie O's, has got a location in Columbus, Ohio now. I don't know if it's right or not, but my buddy told me that was a $9 million build out. I don't know how you can spend $9 million, but he sent me pictures. It's beautiful. But yeah, we don't have the stomach to do that. So we've built our little tap rooms that are more neighborhood, more community centered.
Yeah. And you've been able to, and like I was saying, we're going to talk about this is building that community and there's just people right down the road that might not have known about Earnest 6 years ago, 7 years ago, that live in your South, the South Detroit or South Toledo on Detroit.
Yeah. That's
location. True. But you've been able to find different ways to bring people in. And I think that's always the question. How do we get people to see us more and do it on a cost-effective way? Word of mouth is the best way. Some of the things, and that I talked about, you guys are starting this comedy night on Wednesday nights downtown. You guys have done, things like book nights with an independent bookstore, and they bring in and things. Kind of talk about how these even happened. I mean, are these ideas coming from you? Are these ideas coming from people coming to you asking if they can use your space?
Well, the ideas rarely come from me, even though I got a lot of ideas. The ideas for these events, a great one that we've had, and we had it here at this one before we built a downtown location. I mentioned a downtown location. Downtown location, just naturally when we started leasing that building, has a natural little stage area. And also downtown is not open that frequent because of it's only really just open just mainly because there's the Mud Hens are down there, and then also the hockey team is down there. So they're open a lot for events and weekends. So we had days that we were closed downtown, we need to fill them. And one thing we got together was Brad got a hold of me. He's a choir director for University of Toledo. He was. And he puts together these singers that he pays, and he has a ticketed event, but he takes care of everything. Say with Dave Crumley got a hold of me for the comedy. He got a hold of me wanting to do some comedy. I said, yeah, we got Wednesdays open downtown if you want to do it. And Dave takes care of putting together the Eventbrite tickets. He takes care of collecting all the door. He also pays the comedians. We get no cut of that. And each one of these audiences, you're thinking, well, that's great. You get all these people in here. Because I mean, like the choir singing gets about 50 to 60 people in an event. And the comedy is drawing about 20. Well, that's good to get all these extra people, but this is not my crowd. And I'm doing it really for the community. I mean, if I really look into the expenses of having it open, it's really, it breaks even. I might sell a few extra beers, but like the people that come for these events, they want to see comedy. They're not necessarily drinking beer. I do sell a lot of soft drinks those nights, or else they'll just be drinking water. They don't even want to drink anything. Or the same with the choir singers. I get people that just want to come because I'm like a venue, I guess. Yeah. So, but it does get my name out there, and I imagine it works like this. If you come to the choir singing thing, he does like a Burns night for Robert Burns. He does a really good Oktoberfest with like traditional German songs. So you're coming there for that, even though you don't even drink. You might have a nephew coming and visiting from Portland, Oregon, or San Diego County, and he says, "Hey, I'm only in town for one day. I want to visit a brewery." And your uncle says, "Hey, I go there 6 times a year for these events. I never drink there, but everyone says it's really good. You want to go to Earnest?" And I imagine things like that happen. Or maybe you might not be drinking at that event. Maybe you do, but you got some friends in out of town, and you could decide to go to Earnest. So it works for me. I don't spend any money on traditional advertising. Most breweries my size do not. I'm talking about TV, newspaper, radio. You won't hear a commercial when you're on your FM dial, jumping through. You won't find Earnest Brew Works commercials. But we do spend money on hosting events, There's events that really are pretty small. There's some certain animal groups that I work with that they'll do a fundraiser, and they're very targeted sort towards a certain type of cat group that only does a certain type of fundraising, or what, not fundraising, a cat group that only does a certain scope of cats. Like they like to capture cats and they like to neuter and spay them and then let them go. And that's got a very small appeal as opposed to when you do one with a cat group that does more adoption. But they won't bring many people. But I'll host their events, and sometimes some of those events are not even $100 I bring in. So
yeah, but it's still, like you said, it's just creating that aspect of a community, and people know that you're available. And then for you, I mean, do you guys track how successful something is, or are you still in that mindset of we just want to be available to people, and kind of on a every event type of or idea comes to you and you guys can flesh it out, not just like, yeah, come on in?
Well, I do track them, and what it is, Toledo is not a very big market, so I'm not like I'm getting inundated all the time with all these things. So I don't say yes to everything either. So yeah, because there are some stuff I expect them to have some social media presence. I expect these groups to promote it a little bit, and I'll share their events on my social media too. So I want these events to be successful. It's just that not all of them are. Some of them draw a really small group.
Yeah. Well, what else is going on for you guys? When obviously you guys just had Heat Week. I think you fun with the beers too, which can bring in a different crowd as well. I know. Is Peanut Butter Month coming up for you guys? Is that the next one?
Peanut Butter Month, John. Peanut Butter Month is going to be something else. Hear me now. His Peanut Butter Month is February 1st. Also, end of Dry January.
End of Dry January and Heat Week.
And it's just going to be something else. This Thursday is the 1st of February. We're going to kick off Peanut Butter Month. People love the idea that when you put something together, we'll have a firkin full of peanut butter beer. We'll tap open. We'll have peanut butter beers on draft. And also, it's the end of Dry January. There's a lot of people that I know mostly drinkers. It's ridiculous amount of friends that I know that are participating in Dry January, let alone people I don't. I mean, it is fairly popular. It's not just a tiny niche thing. I do see stuff on certain craft beer professional forums and different things on Facebook coming through. Like, yeah, it is real. Dry January is real. When I started 6 years ago, you would have to explain to somebody what you're doing. If you mentioned Dry January, what you're doing, no one would know. Now you just say Dry January, and you're most likely your friend will go, "Oh yeah, me too." Or my wife is also doing that. It's like, yeah. So Dry January will end, and also Peanut Butter Month will kick off. Yeah, it would be nice. We've been doing peanut butter beers. Started out when I opened, I really wanted this idea of have firkins every week, and we did have firkins from the first week on in 2016 on Thursdays. But for whatever reason, the public, they were strong for 5 years. So just in the last couple of years, firkins started dying off, meaning we'd had to dump too much at the end of the night. And eventually we were dumping so much, it just got ridiculous that, okay, every week it's like this. Let's not be doing firkins anymore. So we stopped doing firkins. Now we do them for special events. Now it seems to work. Like you mentioned, Heat Week was last week. Heat Week, we did 6 special firkins, and they got hotter throughout the week. We started on Monday, we started with them. And that really worked with my customers. It resonated with them. They came in. We sold out almost of all those firkins, which was great because I hate dumping product.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah, that's kind of the stuff I wanted to talk about. I think it's cool that you've been able to develop this. I don't think you thought that this is what Earnest was going to be. I mean, I know you always thought you wanted to be part of the community, but the way the community have you've come to the community and with these tap rooms, and you're just Westgate's just 1 year old here, not even coming up.
Not even. End of March will be 1 year.
So that's a whole nother community that you're probably still trying to find what draws those people in. Are you seeing that? Like, are you implementing what you've done with the two, downtown and original locations and trying to implement it into Westgate, or are you seeing already that it's going to be a different animal?
It is a different animal. The one I'm sitting in right now, none of my tap rooms have food. So we depend on food trucks. The downtown one does not have food trucks. There's a great pizza place right across the street from for my downtown location. Most everybody gets that. Plus, within a 5-minute walk where I'm at downtown, you probably hit 10 different restaurants, including world famous Tony Pacco's is right there. So and plus, while I'm in the city downtown, I have no parking. So there's nowhere to really put a food truck. There's some weird rules and regulations about parking food trucks on public streets. Pretty much you're not supposed to. So I don't do food trucks there at all. Food trucks here I do every day in South Toledo. I'm in a neighborhood. I'm looking out right now at the window. I'm looking at houses. I have a pharmacy across the street from me, and that's the only business. Everything else around here is that we're in a neighborhood. So the food trucks serve very well. Customers, or not customers, neighbors that live around here have figured out that I have food trucks, and they'll come in. I'll see them. They'll pull in, they'll get out, they'll go up and order food truck, and then they'll leave. So I'm actually serving the community that way. Westgate, the new one you mentioned, is a different animal. That is in a very heavily populated shopping area of Toledo. If you look at it on a map, all you see is stores everywhere and restaurants. I got every restaurant over there. All the fast casual ones are represented, like Super Chicks, Chipotle's. There are several pizza places. There's several there's 2 Mexican restaurants that I'm thinking of offhand, a Mediterranean restaurant. There's so much over there that we really only have food trucks once a week at Westgate. We serve the community a little different with the food trucks there. And it's really, so I don't have a cookie cutter. It's not like when we opened South Toledo, we were successful with food trucks. Let's put food trucks everywhere. Yeah. That just doesn't work. So yeah, each one is kind of similar, but also different, cater to its community. Westgate, not been open a year yet. It's got a different vibe than the one I'm sitting in now, the original one. We have a lot of people that walk here or can drive here in like 2 minutes. Whereas Westgate, it's in a shopping area, but there are houses relatively close, but we get fewer people walking there, than we do South Toledo. So it's a little bit different market. We're also, we developed in South Toledo with no expectations from scratch. We were a brewery, just popped up, and no one knew what, we were talking 2016, there were hardly, how many breweries were in my market? Toledo's a market of about 500,000 people. When you look at the Metro stats, the Metro Toledo had what? 3 breweries or so?
Yes. For
like 500,000 people metro area. Yeah. Now we got like 20 in the metro area. Yeah. So we didn't have hardly any. So people really just wanted to check out a brewery. So our tap room in here is small. So it looked like we would be super busy. We developed some good clientele. Then we opened Westgate up. Westgate's tap room is probably 3 times the size, which is not that big. It still holds about 60 people. Yeah. But we got to get into the habit. The customers that we have at Westgate, the clientele that comes in there, they come in more, not as frequent, the regulars. And also we need to reach out to other customers that are over there that would come to Earnest. I guess I'm saying, like, if you live in those neighborhoods within a half mile of my new place, you and your wife and your family might have a habit every Friday or Saturday, you like to go here, X, Y, or Z. I need to somehow get you to come to my place instead and wow you with my great service and beers. And then you'll say, hey, we'll go come back, Right. But it's not as easy, the Westgate, as it was South Toledo, that's for sure.
Sure. Well, good. Well, best of luck to you guys. And, thanks for joining us here as we kind of start doing some more video podcasting and some more stuff to be able to share with the community. And it's always great to be able to talk to brewers and brewery owners that are still being able to, find new ways to be able to try to build their business. And I appreciate you sharing some time with us.
Yeah, no problem, John. Yeah, we'd love to do all kinds of new stuff. I'm trying to think if we got anything really super notable that we want to do new. Oh yeah, this Sunday coming up for the first time ever. I think, but the other people that are in the business will appreciate this. Toledo's a small market. I keep saying everybody knows how small Toledo is. We have the Walleye, which is our hockey team, whether an affiliate with the Red Wings and maybe Chicago. What's that, John? Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, so it draws a lot of people. People love going to these games. These are big stadiums, and here it comes. I can't get my beer in there. I don't even know why. You guys, everyone knows why. Listen to me. Why I can't get my local beer into the largest stadium in the area, the largest indoor arena in the area doesn't want my beer. Everyone knows why. Okay. Anyways, so this Sunday, I actually booked a 50-person event and I told them on the phone, emails, text, everything. We have to have Earnest beer. I said, it's ridiculous that I'm going to book a 50-person event and not have my own beer there. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. They better have my beer there. And it's going to be pretty fun. because we have 50 people that are really solid. These are Earnest customers that I put together this event, and it's also my staff that will be attending. It's going to be a great event, so there's going to be a lot of Earnest beer finally drink at the Huntington Center, and we'll be going on social media with that and everything, and we'll see what the big guy says, the people in charge that won't let my beer in there, because it will be in there. It's better beer, otherwise we'll be bitching a lot.
Well, good luck with that one.
I know. If it works, I want to do more events with them. But everyone listening to me or listening to this knows, the biggest stadiums and the biggest arenas, it's very difficult to break into.
It is. Well, good. Well, thanks a lot, Scott.
Thanks, John.